Hey everyone. So yeah, obviously right out of the gate, the thing to talk about is Luffy is finally going to jump into action. As following Chopper's arrival in the underworld with Gabon, Luffy finally realizes there's trouble on the surface, which, yeah, would be the understatement, as we have the effective God King just wrecking shit left and right, using everything from demon-possessed giants, dream monsters, and all the while, the children are still being held under Imu's control. And I'm I'm really glad we're finally making progress with this, that things have gone to such an effective amount of shit that now is the time for Luffy to jump in. And honestly, the more I read through this chapter, the more it does feel like Oda is setting Luffy up to be one of the more genuine counters to Imu's like Domiverse and just darkness through Nika being like the light and laughter of the world to counter Imu's darkness to save Dory, Brogy, and the children. Like it all kind of just feels like it's fitting that neatly into place. And once again, Oda teases us more with the King Herald thing, which all I will say at this point is it'll happen when it's happened. I do think, like, if I did have one complaint about this chapter, I do think Oda is doing too much build-up at this point with the whole King Herald stuff, and I just wish he'd get into it. But I know, like, it's Oda. I know there's a process to what he does, and I'm sure there's a reason for it. But it's like, okay, can we just get to the backstory already, kind of thing? Like, I do like all this build-up. Don't get me wrong. In some ways, I do like the build-up we're getting, but we kind of need to see the backstory itself. My personal opinion, but yeah. Um, on that note, though, it does continue to intrigue me just what was Harold's failure, as Imu puts it, because at this point it's definitely more than just choosing the path of peace. Like, it's a question of what specific decision did Harold make that made subjugation so difficult for the world government. And I think, again, I think this is not only tied to the reason Loki killed Harold, but I think it also paints a picture that Harold did do something that the royal families do something with the royal family's sacred treasure, the devil fruit that's passed down the royal line of succession. Although one would think whatever happened to it would make it easier and not harder to subjugate Elbaf. So there's like a one piece of this puzzle that's still missing from all this in order to make it make sense. And I don't think we'll understand what truly put Elbaf in this position until we learn what happened with Loki and Harold. Otherwise everything is just conjecture at what exactly like Emu is talking about when they're talking about like how it's been so hard to subjugate, like how it's been difficult for the world government to subjugate Elbaf. I don't think we'll ever truly learn what that means until we learn what happened with Harold. Speaking of Loki, though, we get another conversation between him and his confidant over transponder snail, Masa or Shaggy, and I went back and reread chapter 1134 and compared it to the conversation in this chapter, and right now I've kind of narrowed it down to two general possibilities of who this Masa is. The first one is that he's a resident of Elbaf that's stuck in the middle of all this chaos going on, and if that's the case, I'm teetering on whether or not to believe that this mysterious friend is Louis Arnaut, since, at least according to the basic timeline of events, he would have to be over 100 years old bare minimum at this point, which wouldn't be too weird, I guess, considering Kureha is still alive, but something is just holding me back from fully believing it's him. The other possibility is that Masa is potentially someone from the Revolutionary Army, because the whole tone of the conversation seemed to imply that wherever he is, it is somewhere that's dealing with its own conflict and internal strife. And as we know, one of the overarching like plot beats even within Elbaf itself is what's going on at Marie Joie. And so like the only place that considering the only place we know of right now that is dealing with something like that is the raid on Marie Joie, that it does make his final conversation make a little bit more sense. Which, if that is the case, and his final, then then Masa Shaggy's final words seem to pretend that things are going horribly wrong with the revolutionaries right now. Like, I mean, given that their main enemies are the Elder Stars, it would be strange if things didn't go wrong in some way. But the question is to the degree to which, to how much things are going wrong, and we probably won't know until the aftermath of this arc, honestly, or maybe even before that, who knows. On top of all that, though, this chapter also gives us pretty much shows us what Killingham actually looks like under one of his devil fruit forms, under that mask of a dragon or whatnot, and 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 in all honesty, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of hoping he switches back to his initial form soon, because now he kind of looks like an emo goth punk rock douchebag with horse legs. Like, I'm straight up, like, I'm sorry, I know there might be people who are a fan of this design, but I'm straight up not a fan of Killingham's new look. Like, it just looks so fucking stupid. Like, so fucking stupid. Like, I suppose it's good in the sense of seeing what he actually looks like, but same time, can't say I'm a fan of what he actually looks like either. Although, I guess credit where it's due for at least bare minimum making him have a unique enough design that doesn't make him blend in with the ugly ass world nobles. And at this point, like, I am wondering just how are they supposed to, I guess in a more general sense, I'm wondering how are they supposed to defeat someone like this? Because it feels kind of overwhelming. Like, with Emu, I've got general ideas of how he can be defeated, but with someone like Killingham who can bring fears to life, how do you stop something like that exactly, other than the usual tactic of just not being afraid, which is, again, easier said than done. So it's like, yeah, how are you supposed to stop someone like Killingham is still kind of a mystery to me. But yeah, guys, and yeah, obviously the chapter pretty much ends with Loki, Hajruddin, and Loki, Hajruddin, and Luffy basically being prepared to go to fucking war, just absolutely wreck shit. And yeah, again, at this point, I'm all here for it, and I'm seeing those two just go absolutely buck wild with them. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe from on Blue Sky, and let's Crunchyroll, but you can fix your bell with the subscribe button. Just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Moon, signing off. Later, everyone.